Hello there, my name's Tracy Elsom. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator based in Canada. It's been a couple of weeks since I did my last video. Unfortunately, my son died at the beginning of June and so I took a break, but I'm back now and I'm going to do a very short video for you today using this stamp set called Lemon Zest. It's a fun little set. It has some leaves, a solid lemon sort of shape and a slice. It has some wonderful little sentiments as well, and I thought it'd be fun to do a bookmark with that today. So that's what we're going to use. I'm starting off, as I usually do with bookmarks, with a piece of thick Whisper White card. It's 2 inches long by 2 inches wide even by 5.5 inches long, and I'm simply going to shape that using the scallop tag topper punch. I love using this punch for bookmarks. Just push the piece straight in there and it will punch out the slot and the top. Now normally for bookmarks I like to round the bottoms, the reason being that with use these squared off corners are likely to get caught and frayed. So what I use for that, now that we no longer have the corner punch, is the envelope punch board. You can make envelopes with this, you can make boxes with it, but what I want to use is the reverse punch. This punch will actually punch a notch if you put card up under here, so like that will punch a notch. If you put it in this way and push down, it rounds the corner for you. So there's my bookmark blank. Okay, so I'm going to start with the lemon. It's an interesting stamp because it's not a solid stamp in the true sense of the word. It actually has some blemishes, for want of a better word, in with it. Now I'm actually going to use sponge daubers. I have a box that I've created. I've got a back for it. I have all my names in there, and I'm going to grab the lemon lime twist. I like to have one sponge dauber for each colour. It just makes life easier, and using this box I can actually keep them all safe, close them up, and when I'm not using them I leave it turned up that way so that the sponge daubers are not sitting on the sponges, but when I want to use them I can actually turn it over and get my finger into the sponge dauber without getting my hand covered in ink. So what I'm going to do, now that I've inked this up with Daffodil Delight ink, to think about it then. So I've got Daffodil Delight ink on one side, and this is Lemon Lime Twist. I'm just going to very gently dab a little bit around just those top edges of the lemon slice. This is where I should have left my box open. There we go. Okay, so we'll just stamp that down. There we are, and I've got a lemon. It looks a little bit more realistic because I've got this very slight green tinge. Now because I have stamped partly on the card and partly off the card, I've actually ended up with a mark. So you would often see me doing second generation stamping where you stamp and then you stamp again. Now the problem with doing that, if you've had a stamp that's gone part way off the card, is that if you re-stamp you'll end up with a line. So watch this. There, you can see where that solid line is, and that's really because we've had this part of the stamp has gone onto the card, this little bit here went off the card, and this is sort of the bit in the middle where, because of the thickness of the card, the stamp didn't go down onto the paper. So if you're doing any kind of stamping where you want to stamp again but you've gone off the card, you need to re-ink it completely, and if necessary re-ink it and then do your second generation stamping onto some scrap paper, which is what I often do. So we'll re-ink that again. So again, re-ink it with Daffodil Delight, add a tiny bit of lemon lime twist around the edges. That's probably a little bit more than I did the last time. Let's put that there. Again, you can see where there was a gap, and on the stamp you might just be able to see that that's come off there. Right, now I want to use the lemon slice. I'm going to ink that one up, and I'm just going to stamp that a few times like that. That's fine. Now with Memento Tuxedo black ink, I'm going to use the Life's Short sentiment. See if I can get this reasonably straight, not being able to see what I'm doing without getting my head in the shot. There we go, Life's Short. Let's go with, and this says, squeeze it for all it's worth. Life's short, squeeze it for all it's worth. That's that. Now with the yellow Daffodil Delight, I'm going to put just a piece of ribbon through here. Now if I tie this in a knot, which I can do, it doesn't sit right for me. You get this sort of odd effect. Even if you tie it tight, it's not quite right. So what I tend to do is, there's a couple of ways to resolve this. I will put that up there, and I will add a mini glue dot just to the very top on the left, just slightly off to one side. Now these are Stampin' Up! Mini glue dots, but these are ones I actually got with my latest paper pumpkin kit, which is why I've not got a big box of mini glue dots. I'm going to put on the other side, I'm going to put one in exactly the same place. That way, when I pull this up, like that, the bookmark is there, the ribbon is held in place, that's not going to go anywhere. Okay, so that's one. Let's do that again. Pull out another strip of 2-inch card. Let's move that black ink pad out of the way. And envelope punch board. That gives me my blank. This time we'll do a lime one, I think. So I'm just going to go for the lemon lime twist ink. I will scrub off my stamp. I'll do that as well. Really quick and easy to do. I have Stampin' Mist on this side. This side is dry, and that gives me nice clean stamps so that I can do my next project. Okay, so with this one I'm just going to ink up the limes. These are very vibrant. There we go. So you can see how I say when it's a solid stamp, but it's got a few blemishes in it. It gives you this effect here so that you can see the texture of the lime or the texture of the lemon, as you see there. Now that ink looked quite blotchy when it first went down. It's a brand new ink pad. It's fairly juicy, so that will actually blend out a little bit as it dries. So that's that. And I think what I will put this one is we'll do this sentiment. So again, I'll bring in the black, We'll put Life Short on again. So I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to go with this one. There we go. Good black ink. So that says Life Short, Live It with Zest. This is the Lemon Lime Twist ribbon. I'll put that through there. Now I could do this exactly the same as before. I could put a couple of mini glue dots in, but what I want to do this time is I'm going to use some linen thread. You can see it's got a bit of a kink in it, so I'll cut a piece off. Now you can see I'm not using paper snips. These are my ribbon scissors. I only ever use these for cutting ribbon and twine, which is why they have a piece of ribbon on them. To remind me that these are only for ribbon, and actually when I do classes people say, oh, why is those scissors got ribbon on, and I remind them that's because they're only for use for ribbon. The reason I keep a pair especially for ribbon is that card actually blunts your scissors, so if you use scissors for cutting card, after a while you'll find it doesn't cut your ribbon very nicely, so I keep them separate. I have scissors for paper and card and scissors for ribbon. Now my linen thread has got some nice kinks in it, so what I'm going to do is take my bone folder and just very gently rub the twine. I'm not doing it particularly hard, I'm just gently putting my thumb on it and pulling that through, and you can see that those nasty kinks that were in there have disappeared. So now what I'm going to do is just lay that on there, and I'm going to attempt to tie a bow live on camera. Right, so okay, so I've saved myself a lot of aggro simply by tying a double knot to start with. This way the twine's not going to try and let go while I'm working with it. So I'm not doing a very good job. Oh no, that's not too bad. Just tie that tight. I just want to get rid of that little curly bit at the end there. Just neaten the ends. There we go. So that's that. And now I will trim them off. And there's my second bookmark. Different way of attaching the ribbon, but both are equally nice. So Life Short, Live It with Zest, or squeeze it for all it's worth. Thanks very much for watching today. I hope you'll join me again soon. Bye.